Alright, what's up, friends? Long time no see. I miss all you guys. Haven't really talked to none of you in a while. But I came to make this video real quick. This is the replacement video for Operation Dark Winter, Event 201, Crimson Contagion, that YouTube took down. So this time, we're going to do a little more. And since YouTube took down that video, we're going to use their motto, right? Build back better. We're going to look at each operation one at a time. And since Dark Winter and Event 201 were more common knowledge, more people knew about them, we're going to go over the most relevant and the lesser known one and get some laughs, okay? One thing to remember is that at least there's 3 pandemic exercises. 2 of those were conducted at Johns Hopkins Medical Center, which is where they get all the current illness information from. Johns Hopkins Medical Center was built in 1889 by philanthropist John Hopkins with money left to him from people's wills. Not strange at all. This is the place where the Rona information comes from. The meaningless case numbers. Look into the place. It's interesting. More to laugh at. So, Operation Crimson Contagion. Crimson, as in the color. The Crimson Dragon, China. So, here's this. Crimson Contagion was a joint exercise conducted from January to August 2019, in which numerous national, state, local, private, and public organizations in the U.S. participated in order to test the capacity of the federal government and states to respond to a severe pandemic of influenza originating in China. Now, remember, that bears no similarity whatsoever to what's actually happening. The simulation, which was conducted months prior to the start of the thing happening now, involves a scenario in which tourists returning from China spread a respiratory virus to the United States, beginning in Chicago. In less than 2 months, the virus had infected 110 million Americans, killing more than 500,000. The report issued at the conclusion of the exercise, the after action report, all 3 of those after action reports for each exercise, it'll be linked in here for you so you can read it yourself. Conclusion of the report issued at the conclusion of the exercise outlines the government's limited capacity to respond to a pandemic, with federal agencies lacking the funds, coordination, and resources to facilitate an effective response to the virus. Now, I don't have to tell you why that's funny, do I? That section was copied from Wikipedia. That's always where these things, literally search Crimson Contagion and just go to Wikipedia. That's all you got to do to get some laughs. Here are the key findings from Crimson Contagion. Federal government lacks sufficient funding to respond to a severe influenza pandemic. Exercise participants lacked clarity on the roles of different federal agencies and what information was important to pass on to federal partners. HHS, Health and Human Services, had issues providing accurate and relevant information to hospitals and other public health organizations. Confusion between HHS, FEMA, and the Department of Homeland Security on which federal agency would take the lead in the crisis. The United States lacks the production capacity to meet the demands for protective equipment and medical devices such as masks and ventilators imposed by a pandemic. States were unable to efficiently request resources due to the lack of a standardized request process. It's hilarious, ain't it? And again, right? This is not medical or legal advice, so there's no reason to take this video down. I'm literally just reading from the after action reports and then a paragraph or two from Wikipedia. Again, this is not medical advice or legal advice. This is directly from after action reports and Wikipedia. It is not my opinion, and it's not how I perceive it. This is the official narrative. Now I'll give you some other information about this recent exercise, and I will, of course, link the after action report for all three of them. And for Crimson Contagion, right, the after action report says official use only. This is not for the public, yet it's completely available to the public, right? There's a reason. So whatever you do, don't distribute it, right? Because it says don't distribute. The next part is from Health and Human Services. And these are just the same thing, bullet points in regard to different aspects of the exercise. And if you go look at the after action report, which is on the Health and Human Services website, you'll see that this is page 4, section 6. CDC successfully provided public and responder information about the seasonal influenza pandemic response, as well as guidance on safe work practices and PPE for the first responders. Okay, this one paragraph has three of the buzzwords that they came up with during this exercise, but now they're being repeated over and over and over in the actual thing as if this isn't a script, right? Because they want it to seem like it worked out where they nailed every single thing that would happen along the way, but it's a script. It's the exact inversion of that. The distributed nature of school closure decisions caused confusion among exercise participants and highlighted the cascading impacts of implementing safe decisions. Hilarious, ain't it? The reason for HHS's decision to halt seasonal influenza administration was unclear to state participants. What this says is they stopped counting influenza deaths in the exercise for some reason. You know, if you go to the CDC right now and look at the death rates, right? Lower respiratory infection deaths are the same as they've been every year. And influenza specifically, they're gone. Why? It was unclear even when they did it in the practice test here. Despite technical issues, the National Incident Coordination Conference line enabled federal government response partners to coordinate on the development of public messages. Really? Now, you can click the link, right? And the link to the full after action report that'll be in the description. And you can see that literally this is what's playing out step by step. There's not a single part that was missed, okay? There's info in the report about the vaccine. There's a shortage of the vaccine, so everybody is demanding the vaccine. It's economics. There's not enough vaccine to meet demand, so that makes the value of the vaccine rise and causes riots, whatever. That's in there. Everything's in there. But I just want to say, like, after this report here, whatever you do, you should really try not to fill your mind with this stuff. Just know that nothing is ever what it appears to be. Never. These exercises, they are called war games for a reason. It's a game for a reason. There's nothing to fear about it. It's a game. So, next up, we have Event 201. Okay, and this is the most recent one. The next two are more known, which is Event 201 and Operation Dark Winter. So I'm not going to spend as much time on them. But like I said, I'll have the link for all three in the description. The after action report. It's the results of the game they played. The Johns Hopkins Center for Health and Security, in partnership with the World Economic Forum and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, hosted Event 201, a high-level pandemic exercise on October 18th, 2019. Okay? The dates here are going to be magnificent in New York. So just for clarity, from January to August 2019, they ran Operation Crimson Contagion. Okay? That ended in August. Then October, they did Event 201. So all of 2019 was preparation for 2020. And onward, because this shit isn't going to end unless we end it. Serious. Personally, myself, I say it's their world. Let them have it. They can do what they want with it. I'm going to believe what I believe. I'm going to do what I do, and I'm not going to bend. This one, though, this Event 201, this was special in its own way, okay, as they all are. But this was the synthesizing of Dark Winter and Crimson Contagion. They took those two, put them together, and bang, Event 201. And if you put those two operations together, you'll get the whole situation. You'll see what happened. And what happened is Event 201. This one talks about worldwide protests, right? And there is. There was a channel on YouTube called Angel of Death, and the whole channel was nothing but lockdown and coronavirus riots. People were going insane, buck wild. And I was watching a video, and they took the whole channel away. They don't want you to know what's really actually happening out there. So, Event 201 discusses the protests, martial law. 65% of the population, they said, hey, if there was an experimental vaccine that might help you, would you take it? 65% said yes, experiment on me, please. Talking about shut down the economy, nobody's working, all of it. They hit every base, and now they're trying it in reality. This was the final rundown. They know what will happen with this whole CV thing because they've been manipulating public opinion and people's belief systems for decades. It should be noted here, Bill Gates funded the group with the patent for the virus and the vaccine. Okay? You can check and see. It's insane. He did. So there's that. On June, and here's the quote from the website. June 19th, 2015. The United Kingdom government funded Pirbright, P-I-R-B-R-I-G-H-T Institute. That institute is funded by the UK government. They filed an application for a patent for a live coronavirus in 2015, June 19th, and that was approved November 20th, 2018. So, November, December, 2 months later, 2 months after this live coronavirus was approved for a patent, 2 months later they started running Crimson Contagion. So, suspiciously, the Pirbright Institute, the primary funder is Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's full circle, always is. This is the event when they began claiming globalism, right? They didn't say globalism, but they used its many pieces to say that's the only way forward. Like, you aren't saved alone, we can only be saved together. I'm going to pass. Super going to pass. That's when all that started. And this is when they started talking about it. It came from Wuhan, China. All three of the exercises, the virus comes from China. Smallpox attack, influenza, or the other one that I can't remember right now. So, and that alone should expose the fictitious nature of the current takeover, right? In these 3 simulations, they nailed everything. Like, no, it's they're running the simulation in reality, and people are manifesting it on their own. 3 simulations, all 3 point to Wuhan, China. All 3 are used as real information in the current situation. And what I mean by that is, in the exercise, it was people playing roles, and they were acting like it really happened. It was theater. The video that they took of people playing these roles, they are now putting on the news as if it were real. It's really funny when you read the reports and you watch them doing this theater as if there was actually these things happening, and then you see the stuff on TV. It's really funny. It is. It's hard to laugh at, but it is funny. I know a lot of people that really believe that there's a virus that is 98% survival rate. That's the CDC. That ain't my opinion. That makes it necessary to shut down everything in the world and allow a small group of people to decide everything for them. Anyway. So, like I said, when you read the report and you see what they're doing and then watch them act it out, and then look at what's actually happening in real life here, it is funny. Now, to end this part, because whatever, I'd like to add that between this exercise and March, April-ish, right, of this year, of last year, between the end of Event 201, which was in October, and April of 2020, this is the time when CEOs began stepping down, right? Which was reported as follows. Chief executives are leaving in record numbers this year, with more than 1,332 stepping aside in the period from January through the end of October. Let's remember, Crimson Contagion and Event 201 started in January and ended in October. Same timeline. My question is, usually when someone says more than, right? More than 1,332 are stepping aside. More than is a general term, right? It means that you're not specific. But 1,332 is an exact number, right? So there's something there. When I see things like this, I take it and I run it across the Bible, right, and see what you get. Like Revelation 13:32. Chapter 13 is about the beast from the sea, which is exactly what's happening. And chapter 32 is strengthen what remains, for all is about to die. For I have found your deeds unfinished in the sight of my God. It's just a fun little irony, I guess. The point is, these people knew what was about to happen, and they stepped down for whatever reason. Maybe they didn't want to have to drag these companies through what was coming, but they knew what was coming. So, these millionaire CEOs were aware of the crisis at least a full year before it arrived. You can say that they were just that good, but I'm not convinced. Also, at this time, same time, January to October, while they were running the exercises before coronavirus had begun, this is when members of Congress began selling and buying stock as needed to make millions. And this is something, like, I realized this a long time ago. If the richest people in the world have control of world events and they also have the ability to access the stock market, they can buy stocks, boost a company, and then make millions of dollars. Like, it's not hard to figure that out. So these people in the government being involved in the stock market will slowly consolidate power, like they always try to do. They have foreknowledge of global affairs. They know what happened before the world reacts, and that gives them a time frame to buy and sell as needed to make millions, because the system is a joke. Top to bottom, it's a joke. All of it. So, if you want to make money, follow the investments of politicians. It's that easy. You think that if they know something like what's happening now is going to happen, do you think that they would leave their money in a company that's going to go under and never open again? No, of course not. But they do know that company is going to go under. Do you think that if what's happening right now, if they know that it's coming, you think they're not going to invest in medical supply or the medical industry and make millions and billions of dollars? Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? Nobody's going to do shit about it. So, follow the investment patterns of these 4 politicians: Richard Burr, Kelly Loeffler, Dianne Feinstein, and James Inhofe. Those are the 4 that were doing the insider trading. Alleged insider trading that no one ever did shit about. They were called out. And then that was it. Nobody did anything else about it. Having sold and bought shares at the right time and only the right things to make millions of dollars. Of course, they have the plausible deniability crutch, so you can't really do shit about it. Regardless, given the odds, it's a safe bet that you can follow their investments, invest where they invest, and you'll make a bunch of money. But off track, sorry. Now, lastly, the oldest and most popular one, Dark Winter. I went over this already, a bunch of it, but we'll do it again, just make it quick. So this was an exercise in 2001, just 2 months before 9/11. This was the groundwork for what they planned on doing. What's happening right now, they planned on doing in 2001, but there was no way that was going to happen. That's what the Patriot Act was for, right? If they could had, they would had. And I don't mean to accuse anyone, just presenting what I know. They hoped to roll it out then, but the corruption of the minds of the people hadn't set in enough yet. So after that, they pumped out everything they could to corrupt the minds of the people. So they waited, further corrupted the minds of the people, and now they're going to knock it out of the park. Remember anthrax? Where'd that go? No one was accused of doing it. No one was prosecuted. There wasn't even any proof that it ever happened. It just came one day, they scared the shit out of some people, and then poof, gone. That was that. Dark Winter wasn't like the other 2 exercises, right? This one was an attack. A smallpox attack. Just like anthrax was claimed to be an attack. Like I said, this was the groundwork. Of course, even back then, it had the basics. Lock everything down, riots in the street, military involvement, martial law, vaccines, fights and violence over vaccines, all of that. It had it all. So here's a nice summary, okay? Discussions, debates, and decisions focused on the public health response, lack of an adequate supply of smallpox vaccine, roles and missions of federal and state government, civil liberties associated with quarantine and isolation, the role of the Department of Defense and potential military responses to the anonymous attack. Additionally, a predictable 24/7 news cycle quickly developed that focused the nation and the world on the attack and response. Also, there were smallpox outbreaks in the past. So, that was the end of the quote. Also, there were smallpox smallpox outbreaks in the past. So, the past was used as a tool for the present. There are 2 ways to control an outbreak or smallpox epidemic, right? Vaccine and isolation, okay? Yugoslavia had this leader guy, and his name was Joseph Tito, Josiptito, Josephbi. I'm just kidding. So Joseph Tito used both. He instituted a nationwide quarantine and immunized the entire country of 20 million people using a vaccine supplied by the World Health Organization. Yeah, there is something there. This isn't the first time that they've been through this. This was in the 20s, maybe? 20s or the 40s? Really long time ago. So what do you, based on this happening 100 years ago, what do you suppose is going to happen this time? In America. And basically the world. I speak of America a lot because that's where I'm stuck. Physically, mentally, I'm in space. What do you suppose will happen in America with a communist president in the same circumstances? Just something to think about. It's crazy. So this has always been the plan, okay? And this isn't the first time that people have been through this. Maybe, never mind, I'm not going to speculate. And of course, Operation Dark Winter was hosted, or held, whatever, at the Johns Hopkins Medical Center as well. Same players, same scheme, same outcome, all the same. Let me make sure we're still rolling. Sorry, guys. Yep. This is not the most relevant one, though. This was like the prequel, you could say, to the trilogy. This is probably the least relevant one. Crimson Contagion and Event 201 were the updated models, right? And of course, this ties into the presidency because at least 2 out of 3 said it just happened to be during an election cycle, right? And neither president concedes. The election's called unfair. It goes to the House. The House can't decide. Supreme Court can't decide, and so there's no president, right? And it fractures the nation. What do you know? And then it ties into other aspects of what these fools call society. So that's it. That's all 3. Like I said, I'll put in the after action reports. You can read it all yourself. Hopefully this is my last video on this stuff. I hate the world, right? Not the earth, like the earth or the earth, whichever you prefer. But society, I really hate it. And if this is going to be the last video on it, unless something else major happens and I feel like I have a perspective worth talking about, because there's definitely some other things I'd like to say, and there's a lot left to be said, like the comic book from 2012 made by the EU Publications Office that says this: during a tour of a P4 biosecurity lab in China, a time traveler from the year 2111, which is more number fun, right? 2111, 21 talks about new heaven and new earth and the 12 gates of heaven, the 12 angels who bear the name of the 12 tribes of Israel, which are the 12 cranial nerves in the brain, the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 apostles, the 12 hours on the clock, the 12 months of the year, but whatever. That is Revelation 21:11. New heaven, new earth. But anyway, during a tour of a biosecurity lab in China, a time traveler from the year 2111 arrives to warn the assembled scientists that in the future a pandemic will ravage the planet. Okay, bro, if you buy that. But I'm not even going to bother going into that. That's just a little excerpt. Just want to get this video done, get it out. It's long overdue, as are the 4 other videos I need to do. But like I said, after action report, nothing to fear. worrying about this type of stuff is usually worse for you than the stuff you're worried about. So whatever will be, will be. You know, we're just here to love each other. Alright, last two things I'm going to say, and then I'm out, I promise. There's a YouTube channel called For the Love of Truth. And this channel filed a Freedom of Information request and got a response on the exact number of people who died in his area of Canada due to the current thing. It was 5. All had pre-existing medical conditions and were well off in age. Go take a look at it. You might be surprised. I doubt it, because if you're here, then you know. If it's still there, because you ain't allowed to say that shit. And secondly, this quote from Dr. Michael Ryan of The WHO last June. Michael Ryan is the executive director of the WHO's Health Emergencies Program. Okay? In an interview with BBC, he said, "We are entering a very new phase of high-impact epidemics, and this isn't just Ebola. This is a new normal. I don't expect the frequency of these events to reduce." Wow. Wow. It's almost like he knows the future. Dr. Ryan, it should be noted, is the same WHO official who announced that the new normal of the Dovik-19 era, it should be Dovik-91, that's what I'm calling it now, involves the same guy who announced the new normal era, involves governments forcefully removing those suspected of infection from their homes and separating them from families, which is hilarious because suspected of infection is a case. It doesn't have nothing to do with being tested. It doesn't have nothing to do with having it. It's an assumption. If you make somebody mad, you're assumed to be infected. Classic fear-inducing subconscious programming. They pump it out constantly. Like I said, people accept it as if it's true and then manifest it because they believe that it's true. Fill your mind with love. Manifest that instead. This is my replacement video for Operation Dark Winter. Love you all. I got like 7 videos to drop off. I'll do it tomorrow. I don't know. Still super busy. But like I said, I love all you guys and I miss all you guys. But I'll be back real soon. Peace out.